This is Jim Bish with the Americans in Wartime Museum. Today's date is February 27th, 2019, and I'm conducting an interview with Richard Klappa in Sun City or Peoria, Arizona. And Richard, could you please give me your full name and where you were born?
Yeah, well, my full name is Richard Christ Klappa. The middle name is spelled C-H-R-I-S-T, but in that age it was Christ, but they spelled it as Christ.
Okay.
So I was known as Christ aboard ship. I was kind of jigged about that. They call, hey, Christ, come here, give us your name.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And where were you born?
I was born in West Allis, Wisconsin.
Okay.
1922.
Okay.
The 17th of March. And there's a controversy on that now.
That's St. Patrick's Day.
Right. That's what my mother says. I was born, of course, in them days, the old doc come with his bag, and so him and my dad was having a few drinks and playing cards, waiting for me to come in the world. And it came just about a minute before midnight, and the doc knew to wash his hands to deliver me. He put on the 18th. He looked, oh, it's 18th. And my mother said, no, it's on the 17th, St. Patrick's Day. And she argued back and forth with him. So I celebrate on the 17th, but my paper's all on the 18th.
Really?
So I have to go by the 18th.
Yeah, yeah. So did you grow up in Wisconsin then? Is that where you grew up?
I grew up in Wisconsin 17 years. Yes. I went to a trade school in my later days, and 17 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I seen the TV we had, a little small TV in the house, and I liked the Navy, the ships, so I was going to join the Navy. So I said, okay. So I went to the recruiting office in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then the 7th of May, 1940, I joined the Navy, and they said, well, we can't think you're kind of young. They might have to come to your house and see your folks. I said, sure. So they came to my house, and they talked to my mother and dad, and they approved of me.
Mm-hmm.
They can go. But the only thing wrong, initial enlistment, usually it's 4 years. And they got me for 6 years.
Wow.
So I don't know, of course, I was young. I was eager to go.
Yeah.
And they were fine. I said, that was great. So I did. So I was 7th of May, 1940. It was the state that started in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, recruiting office.
Little did you know what was going to happen in those 6 years.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Of course, on the TV, I seen all these battleships and carriers, and I wish I was going to get one of those.
Yeah.
But it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
Hey,
Did you, just interrupt, did you go to Great Lakes Naval Station?
I went to Great Lakes about for 3 months, 3-month training. And then when I graduated, they sent me to Seattle, Washington, where I was signed to it, a ship called the USS Spike, S-P-I-C-A. And I didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So after they took me on the bus and dropped me off at the end of the pier, and I had my sea bag on my shoulder, and I'm walking down the pier line, and I see this gray ship. It must be Navy ships, gray. So I see all the booms hanging up, and I was disappointed. I said, I almost turned around and went back. But here I really go.
Yeah.
So I went aboard there, and of course I dropped the sea bag and went aboard, and I introduced myself to give my papers to the officer of the deck. And then I was taken below.
Mm-hmm.
I was an apprentice seaman at that time, yeah.
Apprentice Seaman. So
Yeah.
what did you do as an apprentice seaman?
Well, then that was a bad day. Well, and I was aboard there about 6 months, and I was out and coming out to chip paint and scrape the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day it was at noontime. The whistle blew because noon chow, so everybody dropped the scrapers and the wire brush, and he went to chow. So I did too. And then the man in charge was the coxswain. So he grabbed me, he said, "Hey, where you going?" I said, "I'm going to chow." "No, you're not. You're not finished out here." I said, "No, you're not." Then he pulled me by the arm, and I didn't like that, and I hit him. My big mistake. And Bubba was the captain of the ship. Bring that man up to my office. So I went up to the office and I got a deck court martial. And he couldn't dock me and pay because I was putting a seaman. So they gave me 7 days on bread and water at the stern of the ship, in the on the poop deck ship. So I spent 7 days bread and water. And then after that I came out, and of course I was gonna try to get out, but I said, no, I'll stick it out.
Yeah.
And I talked to other people, and it influenced me to stay in, and I learned all the ropes about taking orders, and that's the way you sign up, and that's what you gotta do. So I said, okay. So I abided by that, and I studied, and then made a coxswain, and then I made a second-class boatswain. And then one day I was transferred to Treasure waiting for another ship. So they sent me from there to SCTC, Miami, Florida, Small Craft Training Center. I don't know what was that for. So then I was assigned to our Minesweeper, YMS 317. It was a brand new ship out of San Pedro, California. So after I got to school, I reported to San Pedro, California. There's a brand new ship come out of San Pedro, California. So
What year was that? 1941 now?
That's about like 41, yeah. And then I was aboard there, and they said, "What's YMS? YMS 370? What is that?" Well, it's the yard Minesweeper. The yard, what? The yard is the base, you know. I thought that could be good duty. But I found out the whole Pacific Ocean was my backyard.
Yeah.
So we were there for months, training on a mine gear.
And where in California were you?
In San Pedro, California.
San Pedro, okay.
Yeah, that's where I got the first ship. And then we were assigned to go overseas. So we went with a LST as our mothership, because we had to depend upon it for
Safety.
fuel and water evaporators, because our evaporators wouldn't make enough fresh water to the engines. And so we had to get water from the LST. So we went over there, and Indianapolis, I think Indianapolis Atoll, I think it was.
Yeah.
And that's where the fleet was all in there, anchored out, and we came in there. And so we got a shuttle bus for the rest of the fleet, passing things back and forth to ship. And then we were out to patrol the entrance of that atoll we were at. And that was our duty. But then later on we were assigned for sweeping mines and things.
So did they train you to actually sweep the mines?
Oh, yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah, I learned how to use the gear. We had a atomic acoustic mine, the cables were let out for acoustic. They put the charge on it, and then they put our wires out that cuts the lines that floating in mount. And we had a rifleman up on the bridge and shoot and explode the mine so it would pop up. So we learned all that.
Did you ever find any?
Huh?
Did you find any in those waters?
Oh yeah, we found quite a few. We were set that in invasion. Our duty was to go and sweep the mine so that all the ships can go by and the boats can go out in the mine. So we were out there and sweeping the mine closer to shore. So we got a shore battery, and then we had batteries from the shore.
Yeah.
So we had to sweep a mine and get out of there, and then the invasion boats went in there and went on the islands. So that was our duty. And I did pretty good on that. So
Were the mines that you were sweeping, were they put there just
Oh, they were-
for you, or were they enemy mines?
But for enemy coming. You see, they had short batteries that would protect them too, and anybody coming on a boat would hit those mines,
Yeah.
So that's what we got them, and then I learned a lot, and then we had usually 3 or 4 ship sweep, staggered ship, sweep and shore. And it was very interesting there. So after we done, and then invasion boats went out.
Yeah.
So.
So were you there when Pearl Harbor happened, or had Pearl Harbor
No.
happened yet?
What happened at Pearl Harbor, like I say, I was in this AK-16 USS Spike, S-P-I-C-A. It was a all hog ironer cargo ship with 4 holes, and best part of it, she had a flat bottom. It was as flat as a tabletop. And either side you had about 3 foot fins from rolling, keep rolling. So I was aboard her and learned, as like I say, I was disappointed to get on it, but after a while I was thankful. I learned my seamanship on that. We had the Alaskan duty, we supplied the bases in Sitka, Kodiak, Dutch Harbor, Adak and Attu Islands from Alaska. That was our duty from out of Seattle, Washington. That was the home base. We supplied all bases in Alaska. And then when the war broke out, Pearl Harbor, we happened to be at Dutch Harbor, Alaska.
So you were in Alaska when the
I
war
was in
broke out.
Alaska, and we were loading cargo, and then got out the radio man got the word that who had war, get out of there. So we had to dump everything on the dock. We couldn't wait for trucks. We're dumping. He said, "Get out of there, dumping everything out. Let's get out of here." So we went out to the channel, and the planes from the dump from Pearl Harbor came over us going back home. Of course, they had no bombs left, but whatever guns, bullets they had in the guns, they shoot them. We had an Army pilot with Air Force base, Army Air Base was up there. So they were shot at them, and they didn't know what was happening because they didn't know it was war. So we got out of there, and as soon as we got out of the channel, my butt was hanging over the side, painting all the portholes and anything brass with a paintbrush, so reflection. So we had, I don't know how we got back to Seattle. It was quite a while, almost a month, I think. We had orders, the old man had orders to go here and there. Of course, we were empty then, so we dispensed all our cargo there. So we finally got back to Seattle, Washington, which our home base was. And that was our duty, to supply all the bases in Alaska, from Kodiak, Sitka, Kodiak, Dutch Harbor. I was at Dutch Harbor when that plane came over, and on the way back they went our way.
And you saw those planes go over.
Go forward, and that was it.
Yeah.
Then as soon as we got out of the channel out of sea, I was hanging over the side painting stuff.
All the brass, so it didn't have any reflection.
Just a boot seaman then.
Yeah.
It was exciting for me.
Yeah.
Not knowing it. So anyway, that was happened to me.
Yeah. So were you on the Minesweeper after that or before that?
After.
After that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I was there about on the USS Spike 8, AK-16. That was her number, USS Spike. And then I was transferred to Treasure Island, waiting for another ship, and then they sent me to a small craft training center in Miami, Florida. Just train a small craft. I didn't know what it was. So I went. Then he signed me to this YMS 317 at the San Pedro. I came out of the school and got the ship, a brand new ship out of there, and then I trained on it for minesweeping.
Right.
It was this oversized fishing boat, might say, all wood, get acoustic hammered out in front, just sit down, get lines lay down on the bottom. They set off by acoustic to ships, with like a hammer in a thing. It makes noise and they explode. So
yeah. So you were on a cargo ship first when the war broke out.
Yeah.
Supplying to, how long did you do that? Were you supplying the bases up in Alaska? Was that a year or
A little over a year.
Little over a year you were up there?
Yeah, I was a little over a year. AK-16 USS Spike, yeah.
And then you went down in small craft, and then you were assigned to the Minesweeper.
Right, yeah.
How long were you on the Minesweeper? Do you remember?
Oh, about a year and a half, something like that, yeah.
So about 3 of your 6 years were either on the cargo boat or on the Minesweeper.
Yeah, but I'm glad that's where I learned my seamanship. I was disappointed to get it, but after a while, I was on it. I was thankful I did, because that's where I learned my seamanship on it.
Did they send you anywhere else with the Minesweeper?
No. Well, we had patrol duty, patrol entrance to any atolls that the fleet were in.
But you were pretty much in that area of the Pacific then, the atoll.
But our whole backyard was our Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they get their word at YMS yard. I said, what's a yard? The whole Pacific was my backyard.
Yeah, backyard. Did you make any trips on the way over there through Hawaii? Did you see Hawaii at all on the way over?
I was in Japan for a while, yeah. I was in Japan for a while. And then they sent me to Korea. Oh, how I got in Korea, I scheduled the Navy, and I joined the Air Force when I was retired from the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
I joined the Air Force I was working in a construction company building a Parks Air Force Base in Pleasanton, California. And that's when they would come in. I was building an Air Force Base there on a construction company. And he talked me into joining the Air Force. So I let it to my wife. I asked her if they wanted me to join. They give me another rate higher than what I had. And I'd be right here. I was about 20 miles from the base, and I lived in Castro Valley, California at the time. And the sergeant that signed me up said, "Oh, you'll be right here." I said, "Oh, that sounds like a good duty. It's like going to work." So I said, "Okay." So I should have known better. Then about a month later, they had a paper on the barracks, and I was signed to. It says Klappa, overseas Korea. What in Korea? Where I go? So they shipped me out to Korea, and they flew me over there, I guess. And I was air police. I was a cop then in air police in the 51st Fighter Interceptor Wing in Suwon, Korea. At the time, number was K. Suwon, Korea. I was a staff sergeant. When they signed me up, I was only a sergeant, so they gave me another rate, a permanent rate out of Washington as a staff sergeant. So that's why I bid on it. And of course I didn't know. So I got a staff sergeant, permanent grade sergeant out of Washington. Then I was sent to Korea with that.
So that was your highest rank as a staff sergeant in the Air Force?
In the Air Force.
Getting back to World War II, you were on a cargo ship, and then you were on the Minesweeper. What did you do after you finished with being a Minesweeper? You were what?
A boatswain's mate. I was Apprentice Seaman, and down I got a coxswain. It's #1 stripe. Then you're boatswain mate, second class. And then I made first class. I retired as first class boatswain mate from the Navy.
And
so all the time in the Navy, I had 26 years in the Navy, and 4 with the Air Force. So it was 30 years total.
So your first 6 years that you signed up for when you were 17.
Yeah, of course.
And then, but in World War II, were you on a Minesweeper the rest of the war?
No, I was shipped to another Minesweeper, a police Minesweeper, It was metal, and it was a fleet minesweeper. I was there about for a month.
Where was that at? Do you remember?
It was in the Pacific someplace.
Mm-hmm.
Then he took me off there and he gave me on this YMS. So I was kind of shipped around for a while.
Mostly in the Pacific?
Yeah, all Pacific, yeah.
All on Minesweepers?
Yeah, all except the one time in my reserve time, I spent reserve at the 3rd Cargo Handling Battalion in Oakland, Oakland Naval Supply Center in Oakland, California.
Mm-hmm.
I was assigned to CHB 3, Cargo Handling Battalion 3. And what they did is train how to handle cargo aboard ships and everything.
Mm-hmm. Was that during the war? Or was that
No,
after the war?
After a while. And then and of course, to get your two-week cruise, you had to go on active duty. So we went to Spain, Rota, Spain, for our training. So we went over there, and we were there about for a month, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Then we came back, and naval planes took us back here.
So during World War II, you were pretty much on Minesweepers the entire war?
And mostly, yeah.
Mostly. Do you remember the end of the war? Do you remember all of that, the bombing of Japan with the atomic bomb and all of that?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, that they told us about it, and then for some reason, I don't know how, when I was sent to Korea, I went to Japan, and Japan they flew me over to Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I got on that step. I was assigned to Air Police,
Yeah.
51st Federal Interceptor Wing.
Were you, did you see where the atomic bombs dropped when you were, when you went to Korea or Japan later?
No, I didn't see it in there.
Yeah. So you got out of the Navy in 1946, and you were on reserves at that point?
Yeah. In 1946, I got out, and I was civilian about for a year, and that's when I signed for this construction company. The 4 companies was the construction company that built the Air Force Base barracks for the Air Force in Pleasanton, California.
Mm-hmm.
I was a timekeeper then. And then the Air Force started moving in, and I was at the gate. They assigned me as a duty with my timekeeping to check everybody coming on the base before it was opened.
Mm-hmm.
So the Air Force started moving in there in the barracks. And when Sergeant asked me, I told him yes. And he said, "Oh, come and see me." I said, "Okay." That's when he talked me into signing.
Twisted your arm.
Yeah.
So you were in the Air Force. Were you in Korea before the Korean War started? Or was it when the Korean War, it was...
It was that, yeah.
It was,
yeah.
Uh-huh. So you were on base there, and then they...
51st Fighter Interceptor Wing.
Okay.
F-86s. F-86s. And the other side of the field was the 8th Fighter Bomber Wing. But 2 wings on this one base, and it's Suwon, Korea.
Okay.
One runway, and that was the F-80s, Fighter Bomber Wing on one side. Now it's 51st Fighter Interceptor Wing.
What was your job there?
I was a cop.
You were
Air Police.
You were like the MPs, making sure that...
Yeah, all patrols and keep people on. And the perimeter had Army AA guns protecting the base.
Mm-hmm.
So our job was to get in and protect the planes and the veterans and everything. I had to take them in charge of a flight. They call a flight. You had about 4 or 5 people on there. You signed with different parts for the watch. I took the AD once, and he was going to go in there. I said, "Sir, please." They're hidden. They asked for the password. You had to get a password. And this 91 or was going to go. I said, "Sir, please." Lucky he stopped. I heard a click. The guy was in the bushes. He could have shot him. But he finally took my word for him and stopped, and we gave him the password, and then proceeded. And they came over, and then we did. So anyway, it was
A little tense.
it was kind of tense,
Yeah.
you know.
How long were you in Korea?
A little over a year. 91 and 92. 1991 and 92, I was in Korea. Suwon, Korea. The number was K-13, I think, as a code name.
So you were in the Navy. How long were you out of the Navy before you joined back in the Air Force?
About a year.
About a year. And then you were in the Air Force for the next 20 years?
The next, no, about, quite a few months. Yeah, I forget how long I was in. But total, from my first enlistment until Korea. Of course, when you get out of Korea, when I retired, the first time we go, you're in
Reserves?
reserve, you know, ready reserve.
Mm-hmm.
That's where 2 weeks out of a year you're gonna.
And you were in the reserves for a long time?
A long time. I got papers I can show you.
Okay, I might look at those later.
Okay, yeah, and that's where all my stuff started on.
So you served in the reserves out of California for a long time after your service in
Yeah.
Korea in World War II.
Yeah, California. We came here in November of 83, 93. November of,
I think you said 83 earlier.
83, I think, yeah. 83 or 93, I
Yeah.
forget. November, we came here, and my daughters lived. I got two daughters here. One lives in Phoenix, and one lives in Surprise.
Mm-hmm.
The only family I have left. My son, you see, he was drafted in the Army, and of course I'll show you all that later.
Yeah.
And my brother, he was drafted from school into the Navy, and he was assigned to USS Indianapolis, like it hanging on the wall, from boot camp. And he caught a ship in San Francisco when it was there for an overhaul. He was assigned to the USS Indianapolis.
That's a famous ship.
Yeah, right out of the boot camp. So when he got there, but I'll tell you a story about that. When they left the shipyard, went to another island. They put the beacons of the atomic bomb aboard the ship. They couldn't have put it in below because they didn't have a hole big enough.
Mm-hmm.
So they strapped it on deck, I guess in half, and they had them ring garden. Even out at sea, they had them ring garden the makings of it.
Yeah.
And he went to the islands, and he distributed the makings of it on the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
The Air Force put it all together and gave it to the plane to drop in Japan.
So he was on the
He was on
Indianapolis
the-
when they were coming
and
back.
then they got orders to join the fleet for invasion, the ship. And then they was going down to one area, and then they had a report that, of course, he had a zigzag course, but he was trying to make time, and so he straightened out, and they had no reports of enemy craft in that area, but there was a Jap sub there, and it hit him and sunk the ship, and my brother was blown overboard without a life jacket. He couldn't swim. And one of his shipmates saw him grab a hold of him and grab a life jacket, pulling it around, and gave it to him. Then he swam over to a boat or a raft that the old man was on. So he hung on to the ropes and hang on the raft for 7 days. 7 days and 7 nights he was in the water. Because he'd go out for a few minutes and let him rest a while, then he could go jump back and hang on to the end rope and the life raft. So he was, at that time, I was at Guam. I was aboard a refrigeration barge. There's a lot of confusion there. There was two barges. Was a lieutenant commander in charge of them, There's supposed to be a lieutenant come and take care of this one barge that I was signed to, but he never showed up. He was signed to somebody else. So I was the ranking petty officer in charge, the first class boatswain, so I was in charge of that refrigeration barge. People, ships would send their boats over to get some fresh meats and stuff. We had refrigeration, so we gave the order and gave it to them. We had a small crew, so we only about 5 or 6 people on board there. That's all I had. But that was my duty.
Yeah. And that was still during World War II?
That was World War II, oh yeah.
So you weren't on a Minesweeper all the time, then? You were afterwards, you were on a...
I was signed to Guam, yeah. And then they put me on this barge. In fact, I was taking a lieutenant's place, and I was the first time I had a ship. So we had the guys that come up and topside, we saw the movie, and we had our beer, our green beer.
Yeah.
And the guy gave me a cigar, lit up for big captain. So I was drinking the cold beer, and I was smoking this cigar, and I started getting dizzy. So I hit to the rail, I took that damn cigar, I threw it overboard, and I had a brand new Navy ring, and went over in the drink.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and that's when I quit smoking. I didn't smoke from then on. All of a sudden, that
was a smart decision.
Yeah.
So your brother, he ended up 7 days in the water and making it back out.
Yeah, they picked him up. And I was at the Guam at that time. I could have requested to be one of the ship to go and help, but I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know because it was such a top secret ship.
No word. That's why it took so long. The PBY that spotted them, and then the radio to the base to Guam, and then the ships came out and picked them up.
Yeah. What was his name? What was your brother's name?
I got up there hanging on the wall there. Ralph.
Ralph Klappa.
Ralph B. Klappa, yeah.
You know, a lot of those guys on the Indianapolis were killed by sharks. Did he see a lot of sharks when he was around there?
He told me stories that you wouldn't believe. Oh, there's an island, and they started swimming for the island there, and you couldn't tell them to come back to it.
Yeah.
And they started drinking the seawater, and of course that did it. And sharks ate them. It was awful.
Yeah.
He died. He had a cancer, and then he passed away. He was a young man too. All my family was in. Then I had a granddaughter that was in the Navy at Pearl Harbor, and she was second class, and I said, "Signing on that class. I've never seen it before." I said, "What is that?" She says, "I shoot." I said, "You shoot what?" She said, "I shoot Tomahawk missiles." She's an analyst, check the range and everything on a computer.
Right.
And she Tomahawk missile.
Is she still in the Navy?
No, she was over there in Pearl. She was teaching class, and she was calisthenics they had out there every day. She broke her arm in the calisthenics, and she was got assigned to a destroyer for the missiles, and she didn't make it because she had a broken arm, so she couldn't do it. So they finally discharged her. She got discharged, medical discharge, and so she ended up in back east someplace. And she married some guy, too.
Yeah.
So anyway, that ended that story.
Did you have any other brothers that were in the
No, I just
war?
had one brother.
Just the one brother.
One brother, and I had 2 sisters.
Yeah. Did you did he or you go back to Wisconsin after the war, or did you stay in California?
No, I went back for a visit a lot of times. Yeah, I spent a lot of time, and went by and seen them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, is there anything else you can remember of World War II or your time in Korea that you'd like to tell us?
My brother was, every year they had a reunion of the USS Indianapolis in Indianapolis, so he always attended. They sent him notice because he took a plane, and they let him on the flight. And the way over to Indianapolis, he had heart attack or something. They dropped him off in one island, and then he went over. Then after he got cured of that, he was okay. So they were going to send him home. He said, no, I'll continue on. So he continued on. They gave him another plane. They sent him over to Indianapolis. They made the gathering, but they had a reunion. And on the way back, he had another stroke. And this time he didn't make it. He was paralyzed. His whole right arm, he was paralyzed, and he couldn't talk or nothing. So they shipped him back home in Milwaukee. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a rehabilitation center. And that's where he passed away. And I seen him there. He was eating. He couldn't talk. And I had my hat on. My wife was with me. And we sat on the knees. Oh, he yelled out. So it was a good meeting.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So is there anything you'd like to say left that we haven't mentioned about your World War II experience?
Oh,
You covered most things.
Yeah, I can't remember much. Oh, no, I remember it in Korea, though, when I was a staff sergeant, air police. We had a little jail, or so call it, in our APO. And one day I come in there and I heard a bang, and wow, I screaming. We had a little window, so I looked in the little window, and there was this Korean girl stripped down from here up, prone on the deck, and they had the sticks of an army cot on the end of the sticks, hitting her over the back with that. Wow! I opened the door. I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Talk English." The Korean, two Korean. I said, "Talk English." They were so excited. So I said, "We don't do that here." What happened? Why is she here? She worked in the exchange, and she stole a bar of soap. She stole a bar of soap, and we were beating the hell out of her. She had a welt on her. So I stopped. I said, "Well, take her out." And so the Koreans, they speak English. I said, "Take her offshore." So they tore her records out, and whether she got where she's supposed to go, I don't know. Because over there, life is cheap. But one thing about the Koreans, they respect us over there helping them. They're always bound to us. And if they don't bow, they get punished for it. So when they sent me to Seoul, seen the chief of police, and I seen him with my two Koreans, and they gave me a medal with my name in Korean and my rank and everything. And they all bowed and saluted me. I said, "I'm just sergeant." But they really respect you. I said, "Why do you do that for?" So, "We respect you helping us, sir."
Yeah.
So it's oh yeah, they respect it. They're small, fragile people, but they're good fighters.
Yeah.
You don't want to cross them up. They can fight. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your interview. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
And thank you for your service during World War II in Korea.